People who have faced critical incidents or high impact life events, one of the most commonly asked questions is, of course, is it just me? Am I the only one struggling, or do others also find it difficult to reconcile what's happened? Tragic circumstances have a way of throwing us off course. Our normal way of functioning becomes greatly impacted. The enthusiastic sportsperson, for example, might cease all physical activity. The parent might neglect important responsibilities when caring for their child. And the usually hardworking business person, well, they might struggle to make it into the office. Is this out of character? Yes. Is this a typical response to tragedy? Also yes. When life throws us an unexpected detour, look, it's normal that we too might veer off course for a while. For example, our appetite might disappear, our energy might plummet, and with it, any desire to interact socially with others, well, that feeling has left the building. Sleep is replaced with tossing and turning, nights are plagued by worry, and naturally poised composure might be swapped out for distraction, nervousness, and frustration, leaving anyone to think, what on earth is happening to me? Tragedy can impact almost every aspect of your life. Your thoughts, feelings, body, behavior, relationships, beliefs about the world and others, and your faith. Because it's in such times as you step into uncharted territory, your faith will be tested. You might not have had a choice in dealing with this adversity, but you do get to determine what happens next. Chances are you might still have many unanswered questions, but not knowing the details of the what and why kind of questions, look, it doesn't prohibit you from choosing to take your next step. Of course, there are many things in this journey that will feel out of your control. However, be encouraged in knowing that there are still many things that are within your control. As Christopher Robin said to Winnie the Pooh, remember, you're braver than you believe, and stronger than you seem, and smarter than you think. Even just the fact that you've chosen to participate in this program suggests that you're already on the right path to taking control of your future. You should be commended for that. It's often said that your pain is inevitable, but suffering is a choice. You might have been victimized in this trial, but when you refuse to be a victim, you become more than a conqueror through Christ who loves you. And if you trust him, he'll give you the strength that you need for this journey. You see, just like the Apostle Paul, I am convinced that neither death nor life, neither heavenly angels or demonic wickedness, neither the present or the future, nor any power, height or depth, anything else in all of creation will be able to separate you from the love that God has already revealed through Jesus. And if you exercise your own free will choice to actually believe it, well, he will use this trial to refine you, to produce within you faith, perseverance, and maturity. Look, I get it. It's such a hard choice to make because we know that it will require us to go on a journey. And when we're feeling so depleted of energy and so devoid of hope and so alone in all of our despair, look, sometimes it's easier just to stay paralyzed in our pain. But don't beat yourself up if you're not jumping up and down, putting on your finest display of Christian virtues. Your humanity makes you vulnerable to the experience of suffering. To optimistically somehow fake your way through trials, denying any experience or pushing down any hint of painful emotions, putting them away, that just will only serve to exacerbate the extension of your suffering. You are not weak for feeling fear. You're not wrong for feeling frustration, and nor are you sinning when feeling sad. God, in his extraordinary wisdom, has made us capable of feeling the full spectrum of emotions. And yes, there are days where you will be dancing with joy and singing with hope once again. But there are also going to likely be days when you will mourn with sorrow and cry out to God in pain. As King Solomon writes, there is a season for everything, including a time for sorrow. However, that time is not all the time. Emotional traumas can actually cause enduring changes on our brain, making us vulnerable for addictions, anxiety, depression, memory difficulties, and even learning problems. However, understanding the impact of tragedy and adversity on our brain, well, that helps us to know when we might be reacting out of our experience of trauma and pain and how we can respond accordingly. When we experience a critical incident or high impact life event, our brain stores the memory of that experience in the amygdala. The amygdala is just a small almond shaped part of the brain that's responsible for storing emotional memories, in particular, fear based ones. The amygdala is located in our limbic system, which is, very simply put, our feeling brain. The front of our brain is called the prefrontal cortex, and this helps us reason and process information rationally. It helps manage our impulses and respond to situations using logic. In fact, we can think of our prefrontal cortex as our thinking brain. God has wired your brain and body to protect you from danger, and that's why whenever you're reminded of a difficult or traumatic event that you've experienced, memories in your amygdala are activated. It's like they suddenly wake up after being asleep. Because your feeling brain is now reminded of the experience, it perceives tragedy and sets off alarm bells. In response, your biology is tricked into thinking, hang on, the tragedy is happening all over again. And so it releases a surge of stress hormones to give you the adrenaline to fight or flee from perceived danger. Because your brain is wired to instinctively respond in this way, before you even have time to stop and think about it properly, your brain is already on autopilot. Your heart beats faster, your blood is redirected to your muscles, making them tense, and your breathing speeds up to increase oxygen flow to your body, and it heats up, causing you to sweat. Your body's response is now designed to give you an extra shot of energy to deal with the threat. The only thing is that most of the time, there actually is no danger. This right here is a false alarm. It's an indication that painful memories have been triggered. By knowing how your brain and body responds to negative memories and perceived threats, well, you can become more aware of your own triggers and reactions. And instead of reacting on autopilot, well, you can learn to take back control. Instead of getting frustrated that you've been triggered again, no, go ahead and thank your brain for trying to protect you. Let your body know, look, it's okay. It was just a false alarm. You're safe. It's going to be okay. Just breathe. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're like, hang on just a second. You want me to talk to myself? Isn't that a sign that I'm going crazy? Actually, no. Not if you're in control of what you say and you're intentional about reassuring yourself. After all, this is what King David did. In 1 Samuel, it says, when David was greatly distressed, he encouraged himself in the Lord. Here's the point. Don't follow your feelings. Inform your feelings. Indeed, King David, he even went so far as to instruct every part of his being. He said, bless the Lord, O my soul. He instructed his mind, his will, and his emotions, and all that is within me. He went on to say, bless his holy name. You see, David understood that he wasn't his brain any more than he was his body. Rather, he had a brain and inhabited a body. Therefore, when he spoke to himself, he was reminding his brain and body who was in charge, reminding himself to give thanks to God for the good things that he'd done. And even in times of distress, he need not be anxious because, well, the Lord is trustworthy. Even though it might seem strange to exercise verbal authority over yourself as you encourage, instruct, and remind yourself that God is still on the throne, or when you do this, your brain and your body can stop panicking and finally breathe a sigh of relief. Research shows it's not just what you say, but also what you do. To get your brain and body working for you instead of against you, well, a great place to start is rather than focusing on what's happening to you, identify what's happening in you. Let's get really practical now. I'm going to show you a simple exercise that you can either do with me right now or in your own time. When you feel like your brain has set off the alarm bells that has now caused your body to panic, here is one simple yet highly efficient way to bring everything back to a place of calm and regain composure. Are you ready to go? Find a quiet space where you can be alone and undisturbed. Position your body in a way that you feel most comfortable and relaxed. If you're leaning back in a chair, uncross your legs and place your feet flat on the floor. Maybe you're even able to lie down and completely relax. Then take a few slow, controlled breaths. In through your nose and out through your mouth. The slowness of your breathing is more important than the depth of your breath. And now, with your eyes closed, starting at the top of your head, begin scanning your body and your mind, slowly working your way down. When you come to a point in your body where you feel stress or tension or maybe even pain, stop. Do your best in your mind to identify, what does this pain or this tension feel like? For example, maybe it feels like a tightness or an ache or a heaviness. And then take another breath in. And to the best of your ability, release that pain and tension while exhaling. When you're ready, now ask God for His peace to invade that part of your body. And then speak with the authority that you have been given in the name of Jesus and command it to relax. Continue now to scan your body and do this process until you have reached the tip of your toes. And when you're ready, open your eyes. Do you notice anything different? Like, how does it feel to slow your heart rate, to regulate your breathing, to release the tension and take back control? Encourage, instruct, and remind yourself you are braver than you believe, and stronger than you seem, and smarter than you think.